So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on your place in the world and maybe when you're listening to this recording. My name is Dana Schwartz, and I'm here with my husband, David Watts, and also several of our wellness team. We are part of Corazon Essentials, which is part of our bigger branch of Corazon Healing Arts. I came into doTERRA as an herbalist and an acupuncturist, massage therapist, and many other modalities mixed in there. And so today's topic of sharing how doTERRA's business model works is really near and dear to my heart because it has really changed our lives, probably equally to the oils. Actually, it's probably, many of you, I meet with you every week. It's probably the least favorite topic for me to teach on, but it's probably the most exciting aspect of doTERRA. So I'll just say that, as a healer in my heart, talking about money hasn't always been something that I have felt comfortable doing or even paying attention to, right? So I just say that and preference that as I'm guiding you through something that is actually now really understood by me. That's pretty big. So if along the way, as I'm sharing something and you're not so sure about it, that's normal. Sometimes we need to hear these things many, many times. And sometimes, like even me this morning preparing for this call, you might learn something new the 100th time that you hear about our business model. And that's kind of the most amazing thing. So let's dive right in. And again, I may not be able to see you all, which is my preference. I really like to see you all, but Zoom changes all the time, but there is chat at the bottom of your square. If there's something that you want to ask, do put it in there, because when we're complete at the end, I'll stop the recording and we'll be able to have a chat. Okay, let's find things. So this is doTERRA's business made easy. We tend to overcomplicate things. It's pretty natural. And particularly when we're starting our own business, right? So I'm just getting things organized here. And then I'm going to recommend that if you are at a seating at a desk, or even if you're outside, if you go ahead and grab a pen, paper, journal, maybe it's your computer that you want to open up a window and take notes on. Maybe you're going to want to answer these in your head, but I recommend writing things down as we're talking today. So most of you that are here live with me have already decided that you want to explore this opportunity. But I'm going to say that every single quarter, I like to review these questions. And so if this is your first time hearing this, it's really good to assess, like when you're your own business owner, to really assess how things are going and what you're really looking for. So my first question that I want to really ask all of you is, what would be the best part of running your own business? What attracts you to being a business owner? Just write that down. And the second question, how do you feel about network marketing? Right? I mean, when I first started this business, I kind of coined a term, like we have this cultural wound around network marketing, where there's a lot of mistrust, and even maybe you hear the word pyramid scheme, which network marketing is not. So be honest, right? Because at some point along the line, we're initiated by someone else's opinions also about network marketing. Right? So I call it initiation because it's somewhere along the lines it will come. So go ahead and throw down, how do you feel about network marketing? Do you think it's a good opportunity? Do you trust it? Have you had a previous experience with another company? Go ahead and journal that down. And then the third question, yeah, I'll give you a little more time to journal that. I'll sip some tea. is what intrigues you about the opportunity with doTERRA? So you might have a taste about network marketing, but you're still here. Or maybe you've been a customer for a long time with doTERRA and you're like looking at how steady and consistent this company is and thinking, okay, I'm curious about that. So why are you exploring doTERRA? And then the fourth question that I'd love for you to jot down, and you can come back to these questions. I really recommend going through these questions a lot, right? Keep the faith. What would residual income mean for you and your family? What would that do? What does that mean? What would that mean for you? And maybe you don't know what residual income really means, and we're going to talk about that today. We're going to go into it and really understand it to the best of my ability to talk about that with you all. But what is your idea of it? What would that mean for your family? Which leads us to this question. What does financial freedom mean to you? For me, there's been many seasons of my life as an entrepreneur and business owner where financial freedom meant to me that I could pay all the bills, that I wasn't stressed out at the end of the month trying to figure out how to pay the bills. That was actually for me when I first started doTERRA. When I thought about financial freedom, I wanted to be able to pay the bills without thinking I have to book one more massage to pay the bills or one more acupuncture treatment to pay the bills. But along the way, that this has changed for me, where financial freedom at this moment means that I can buy a house, right? So our goals can change. Financial freedom to me would also means that I can have time freedom, right? So that to me, they're connected and they're very related. And time freedom, I thought I had time freedom actually when I was running my own massage and acupuncture business. I also thought I had time freedom, which was not true. We'll talk about that. So there's lots we could say, but for the time's sake, I'm going to move into the next slide and talk a little bit more about this. So you can identify where you are at yourself within the framework of financial freedom, right? So over here on the first side, we have a traditional job where we are trading hours for dollars. Whether you're clocking in and out or you're running your own business, right? You're trading hours for dollars. I say running your own business because for me, when I was running my own business as a massage therapist and then an acupuncturist, if I wasn't working, I wasn't making money. So I was trading my hours for dollars that way. But if you have a 9-to-5 job and you're clicking in and out, maybe you get to leave that job behind. But if you're not working, maybe you have paid vacation. I don't know what it is these days. Maybe you have like a 2-week paid vacation at the most, or you have some rocking job that I don't even understand or know about. Because I think that pretty much there's a really limited trading hours for dollars in a traditional job. There's also a limit on advancements in earning, right? There's only someone at the top, and there's some leadership perhaps positions or higher presidential, vice presidential positions within there, which means there's also a cap on earnings. All right, so limited time freedom. We already talked about that. But this bottom one here, I think, is really pertinent, is that we are checking in and out of the traditional job, building someone else's dreams. And I was talking to a dear friend the other day about, how doTERRA was able to afford my husband and I to move out of California, leave our practice behind, and come here to Bend, Oregon. But in that process, when we left, we had nothing to show for those 10 years of practice, except for some relationships, of course, but no financial anything to show for that. And I think that's pretty remarkable. And I spoke with another friend who had spent 20 years building up a yoga studio, which had to close during the pandemic, who also has nothing left but relationships from that 20 years of building a business. So they were building their dreams, right? Even though it was this, so it's an interesting thing to think about. So then we come into authentic direct sales. And we say authentic in doTERRA because we are really a relationship business. You know, I mentioned the only thing I had with me was my relationships from my previous work. This is very authentic because we here in doTERRA, we're working with people's health. So we have to come from our hearts. We have to come from an authentic place. The other part of it being authentic is that it's actually successful, and there are hundreds and hundreds of people in this company who have actually made true residual income, including us. There are no limits on advancements in earnings. So anyone can bypass anyone in this company. As long as you put in the hours and the work and the time and the energy, you can go anywhere you want. You do have the freedom to choose your own schedule. And here you are absolutely putting in that investment of time and energy to build your own dreams. So take some time to identify, because maybe you're in both, right? And usually I really recommend when you start building doTERRA that you still have a job and you're building, and we'll talk about why in a minute, and then you're putting in that time and you're building your, what we like to call your financial pipeline. You're putting in that timeline. And, or you could say building your residual income check. It's another way to think about it. So why would you partner with doTERRA? I asked what brought you to this company before. And these are some reasons. Number one, it's a very effective company. This company has been successful. We are the most tested and the most trusted essential oil company in the world. We have over 8.5 million customers. doTERRA is used by doctors and hospitals worldwide. And within the industry of direct sales, we have a record-breaking retention rate of 65%. The average industry rate is 13%. Retention rate means that customers will continue to purchase. So even those that come to this and work to build a doTERRA business, if they choose to perhaps stop building, they will still use their products, because we have incredible supplements, we have incredible self-care products, cleaning products, as well as, of course, our oils. So people usually continue to purchase no matter what. It's pretty awesome. So we are the largest essential company in the world, so this is a proven piece. Our growth rate is similar to Apple. We both were $1 million companies in 7 years. That's a pretty incredible growth rate. And this is very an optimal timing for the opportunity, right? So we have a product that supports health. We have a health crisis in this country, and I would say globally right now. And learning how to take care of ourselves, tapping into all the education that doTERRA has, is a very valuable opportunity right now. All this free education. When doTERRA started, we had way back in 2007 or 8, we actually had an economic downturn at that time as well. And doTERRA has really shown us that it knows how to work through all different kinds of economic circumstances. We have 120 markets open worldwide. There are some other markets that were scheduled to open that perhaps have slowed down a bit, like India. I get this question all the time. When is India opening? We are in the midst of a pandemic, so it's probably going to take another year. Well, it's supposed to open 2020, probably 2021. We're a privately owned company. That means that no one can come in and tell the owners of this company, you need to cut corners on the oils because we're having some financial trouble with this country or something. No one can do that. And the owners of this company are committed to being the most trusted and tested and purest oils in the world. That's their commitment. I've heard it now for many years. So we're debt-free as a company, and we have no outside funding to influence that. Those are really powerful statements that maybe some of us have heard before because we've been with doTERRA for a while, but if you were to hear it for the first time, like have those ears to realize these are very good reasons that we're all here. We can feel secure in a very insecure world at this time. doTERRA is also really caring. And this is probably what got me to partner with doTERRA first. As I shared in the beginning, I wasn't as motivated by all the other aspects of the business and the money, but I was interested in the integrity of the company. So doTERRA creates partnerships with growers around the world. So rather than taking advantage of some of these third world countries that are in very poverty stricken, doTERRA goes in there and actually empowers these communities and finds out what they need. It's pretty amazing. We also preserve agricultural traditions through something called co-impact sourcing. This is something that if you have not yet, I always encourage to go to sourcetoyou.com and check out some of our sourcing stories. You get to actually meet some of the harvesters and some of those that are picking some of the crops and really get to see their stories and get to know them. When we gather in person and meet at convention, last year doTERRA brought, I think, about 70 of the partnerships from around the world, and they walked around stage with their flags. It was so beautiful, and I don't know if there was a dry eye in the arena to just see the pride that these humans have in seeing that their plant therapy is actually making a difference in the world to that many people, right? 8 million people. It's just a really incredible achievement. We also have a nonprofit Healing Hands Foundation where 100% of any donations goes to that. Sometimes nonprofits, they'll take some of that for the work. No, doTERRA pays for all the admin costs. Everything that comes from Healing Hands Foundation is towards all of the different projects that we have. And you can go check that out as well at Healing Hands. So you can know that as you grow your doTERRA business, other lives are lifted. So it's not just the growers and the harvesters, the people that are on the other end of the bottle. It's also the people that you're sharing the bottle with, right? So as you're growing your business and you're introducing the oils to people, you're making an impact one drop at a time, one household at a time, helping people know how to work with their own bodies, understand their own bodies. And then as you share the business opportunity, you get to watch others also uplift their lives and change out of a stress and havoc life that so many of us are used to working at, to working from home and connecting through a more heart-centered healing way. So every purchase changed growers' lives and their community. And as I said, you can learn more at sourcetoyou.com. And I would recommend right after listening to this, going there and checking out how we get frankincense, for example. It's just beautiful. So some questions that might be circulating through your mind is, how do you make money? How much time is involved? Might this work for you? And what would be the next step? So we're going to go through some of this next. I don't see any questions coming in, so I think things are going well. How do I make money? So the first thing that we do in this work is we help get someone a kit, right? So we help somebody get some oils in their home. How do we get them to get that and have that interest? So someone who's never used an essential oil before probably needs a sample and an experience. And this is really how we work, is that we get our oils, we use them ourselves. And then the next step is that we say, oh, like my neighbor, might come over and share that she might have a headache. And I could say, hey, here, take this peppermint home, place a few drops here and maybe on the top of your head. Let me know how your headache goes. 2 days later, I see her my headache was so great. And then I said, oh, would you like to learn more? And I get to teach her. I give her a class, give her a little presentation, make sure that she understands how that oil made an impact on her headache, and help her get some oils. So then she gets her kit. Then once she's had her kit, I'm going to go back there and support her and make sure that she knows how to use those oils. Because for many of us, this is the first time that we think, oh, a drop of peppermint can help me with a headache, or a drop of peppermint can help me with a stomach ache. So we want to make sure that they know how to use their oils, and we support them. And this is the cycle. Sure, there are other steps, but this is the essence of the business. So how much time is involved? Probably some of you have seen this before. So 3 to 5 hours per week will help you pay for your product over time. It doesn't happen right away, but over time, if you put in this time and you help people, you can pay for your product. That means that every month you can get your supplements, 1 or 2 new oils, and a few other different self-care products that you might be ordering in or using somewhere else, like toothpaste, for example, okay? We have On Guard toothpaste. The second way that is to supplement our income, and that takes a little more time. That takes 10 to 15 hours a week. And I'm gonna say, if you're just beginning, to think about it more towards that 15-hour time, because there's the learning curve of the oils and the business that we take into consideration. But over time, you can fall into more of a 10-hour work schedule to supplement that income. Now, if you're here and maybe you just lost your job, which I know many people have, or if you're uncertain about the income that's going to be happening with your job, and you know that you need to be replacing income, you're going to put more hours in, anywhere from 15 to 30 hours, and that's up to you, always. The more hours you put in, the more momentum you will get in your business. Now, these are all self-generated activities, right? So sometimes when you're first owning your own business, you're like, what do I do for 30 hours? And that's what we're here for. Whoever enrolled you and introduced you is going to help you along the way. So you can ask yourself these questions. Are you passionate about oils, or even just natural medicine? Okay. Do you care about other people? But this third one's important. Can you follow a system? Can you get things done? Or do you find yourself floating from one to another? Then maybe it's not for you, right? If this is something that you have 17 other perhaps products that you're interested in selling, and you want to do a lot of things at once, then maybe this isn't the right opportunity, because I have seen over the years that following along and being part of the group energy really helps in finding our success. Now, here's where we're going to dive into really understanding residual income. This quadrant comes from Robert Kiyosaki. He wrote Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and several other financial books about creating residual income. You could check out some of his podcasts and things. So we're going to talk about this quadrant. Stay with me. If you are someone that needs brain power, put some peppermint on your brain. So this first quadrant up at the top is if you have a job, right? So you're an employee here. You have a job, you're exchanging your time for money. We talked about that. There's nothing for you to leverage. If you're not at your job, you're probably not getting paid. Now, in this quadrant, this can be a big game changer for someone when they first get their first job and they're actually making an income. You're paying for your bills. You're able to balance your checkbook and make ends meet month after month. Maybe you can save up, go on vacation from time to time, but you're pretty much locked into your time for money paradigm when you have a job. The second one down below, we're going to go down, is when you're self-employed. And I find that many of us come to doTERRA who are previous self-employed. We're looking to actually create some security in that self-employment. Like I shared with you, me being an acupuncturist and a massage therapist and owning my own business, right? Being self-employed. I wasn't a boss of anybody. I didn't hire anybody else out there. If I was not working, I was not making money. This is very, very common in the healing world, but it's also common in other trade jobs, like being a hairstylist. If you're not working, maybe you have some product on your website and people are buying it. But pretty much if you are not working, you are not making money. This could also be a coach. There's a very, very popular trend right now for people to become coaches. Maybe for a coach program, you might sell a program, right? But once that program's done, that income from that client most likely will not continue unless they buy your next program. So that's also like athletic coaches or trainers, right? So there's lots of people that we're wanting to be self-employed, where there's actually a sense of, I'm going to have time freedom, but maybe not, because we can step into this next quadrant up here at the top, where you actually are owning a business and other people are working for you. Well, that sounds good, right? So I'm an acupuncturist and I'm getting really successful, so I hire 5 more acupuncturists. Maybe that starts to pay for my rent and things are going well. But if they get sick, or if they move, or they leave, or anything can happen where I'm owning a business and people are working for me, I carry the load as a business owner here, right? So this could be, it's hard for me to think in other business models, but this could be my husband and I decide to open up a huge healing practice and we have community space coming in and out. Well, we're managing other people. We're not getting paid for the managing of the other people, but we might be able to take percentage of the healing work that they're doing. So there's a little bit of leverage here when you do have other people working for you, right? You have more leverage there. You yourself might be sick and call one of your employees and say, hey, I need you to cover me today. So there's a little bit more space there, but also more responsibility. And then this last quadrant down here, is an investor. Now yes, you definitely are making money when you're sleeping if the investment is going well. I know a lot of people recently, not so great, but it is passive income. You give your money to someone else and they manage it for you, right? You're not doing that all along, maybe. Then that's really kind of a job too for you. But if you're doing that, it's more of a passive income. The income is not dependent on your presence. You can go on vacation, come back and say, wow, that investment did great. You can own property, a little bit dependent on yourself there, right? So where does doTERRA fit in here? doTERRA fits in here in basically probably these 3. You own a job, you're a business owner, and also once you start making money, you can start investing in other things, but you're also investing time. So doTERRA is actually a very unique opportunity because, what I didn't say about being a business owner, let me just jump back here to this quadrant of being a business owner, is the investment is really high. Even if you do a franchise, for example, like you invest into a franchise as a business owner, you're going to pay quite a lot of money as a startup fee. Or let's go back to the idea of what I was sharing with you before about starting up your own practice and hiring others. That's a pretty big startup cost. With doTERRA, we have a startup cost of the minimum $160. I like to say more like 200 because we also buy supplies for books and some supplies for sampling and things like that. So it's about a $200 monthly investment for our startup in doTERRA. But what happens with doTERRA, which is amazing, you own your own job, but you can walk away from it and you start to gather, right? You have people with you, but they're not working for you. They're working with you. This is another beautiful thing about it. So you are helping others have their own business. You're working together. And actually you can take some time off and your team can help you. I have heard story after story after story in doTERRA of someone having a baby and taking a few months off and their income growing. Or like David and I, we had some time in our life where his family had some sick people in their life and some deaths, and we were able to take time off and be there and be very present with his mother for her husband's passing and still make money with doTERRA. Last example I want to share with you is that I personally was able to go visit my sister for her first child in Vermont with David. And I think we worked 3 days that month because we were with the baby, and we had one of our highest checks. Okay. So that's residual income. So it kind of money working for you. You have people that are supporting you, you have something to leverage, and you own your own business. So doTERRA fits in kind of 3 of these quadrants, which is really exciting. So let's look at the dilemma that we have if we do not have residual income. The average income needed for retirement in the US is about $4,500 per month. And that's about $54,000 per year, which is low. That's a tight budget, really, if you're going to retire. So let's just think about that for a second. For those of you that know the doTERRA business model, that's about a gold income. Okay. Now let's look at what that actually means to be able to have $4,000 and $4,500, and you can just take that out every month and you're retired. That means that you would have to have over $1 million and $800,000 invested, earning 5% interest to receive this monthly. I would love if somebody wants to message me after this where we can find 5% interest these days, because I don't think so. And we actually do have some friends in financial advising. So that's a pretty big chunk of change that I think is pretty rare at this time in our world, to have $1 million invested or in the bank that we can draw $4,000 out of every month. So 40-year working career, that means that we need to save $27,000 a year to make that up. That's a lot of money to actually save away every year. So 75% of the people at age 50 have less than $5,000 in their bank account. We still fall in this category because we have tremendous student debt, right? So we're working and depositing, working to do that, because becoming an acupuncturist is an expensive endeavor. But 98% of retired people depend on outside financial resources. So it's kind of a heavy slide to just understand that if we're not preparing for the future and we don't have a job that has retirement funds for us, we really need to start thinking. And if you're like me and you lived your whole life as an entrepreneur, you probably didn't save $27,000 per year. I most certainly didn't. So why direct sales? I'm going to skip into this conversation for a second because this is an important one. Why did doTERRA choose direct sales? And this is actually one of the reasons that I said yes to it, even though I was tentative and hesitant, was that it's a built-in business model. Everything is here for us. We do not have to source our products. The orders are shipped out for us. Every time I introduce the oils to somebody, all I have to do is type it into the computer and boom, doTERRA does that. They have customer service. So the worst thing that can happen is maybe that order didn't, something happened to it, and what do? I call customer service and they help. I do not have a garage full of oils and diffusers and supplements that I need to try and sell. That is not our doTERRA way. doTERRA holds the inventory. And so we do not have to do shipping or any of that kind of overhead requirements. The only shipping I do is out of joy or samples, right? And that's on our own. There's a built-in education system, so we can help you learn about your products. There's business trainings like today, and then there's also leadership, and I would also say personal development training in doTERRA. We do have a saying that it's an essential oil company or a personal development company disguised as an essential oil company, because you do grow when you decide to work with the oils and build a business. You grow personally, for sure. And I already mentioned this, but we have incredibly low startup costs to start your own business. The only financial commitment is 100 PVLRP per month. That is product value and loyalty rewards program. And so this is something you might want to ask the person who brought you here about. And these are products for your own household. I love that doTERRA does this, because this means that nobody who is selling doTERRA doesn't have the oils themselves. We all have to go into our own health and our own understanding about our bodies and how things work through the products that we get to order every month. And this also gives us the opportunity to share and share with our families and our neighbors and our communities. And that's how we do the sampling from that monthly order. So I know that this isn't so clear to see, but of course this is available for you to look at on your own. But I wanted to just show you the different income opportunities here for you to decide, what do I want to create here? And you can see here the average time to rank in months is down here. So the very first rank, the average time is about 2 months. And this is within all of doTERRA, the people that come to work in doTERRA. And remember I mentioned that gold income, that's right about the middle. That's right about that average amount that we can retire at in the United States, that 4,000 mark. It's about $4,700 this gold rank a month that you can get. So I'm not going to stay on this slide too long because you can't really see it, and you're going to show you ones in the next slide that are a little bit closer. So here you can see a bit better. These are the first ranks, and I want you to just take note of Premier and Silver, because there's some extra income opportunities with these 2 ranks and above that we're going to explain soon. We're going to go into the different ways we get paid in doTERRA, okay? So the very, very first thing to celebrate in doTERRA is this rank, the elites. And this is when you bring in about a 3,000 volume worth of sales in your personal organization. Now, I don't need to worry too much about all the details of structure. That's what these little diagrams are, because that's what we're here for. We will train you along the way to understand this. And here are some of the bigger income opportunities. These are when you're wanting to go for that supplement or even really replace income levels here. These are the higher ones. And I just want to make note that while Presidential Diamond is the very top one here, this is presidential, the average income is over $100,000 a month. This is not the place that we can stop. We can actually keep going and become double presidential, triple presidential, and this has happened in our company. The compensation plan is, there is no limit. There is no top to get to. There is no one that can stop you from growing. You can go as far as you want. So this is the first way we make money in doTERRA. It's called our Fast Start bonus. And I'm going to talk about a couple of the different ways. This is the part that I was saying in the beginning that you might need to review a few times. I most certainly did, okay? And I'm going to walk you through this. I'm going to do my best. And if I feel like I need help, David's going to step in and do it, because it's always a lot. It's like a tongue twister, right? So the Fast Start. So here's you. Or I could even say, here is me, right? So here is me, and I share with my neighbor, Amy, and I earn 20% of Amy's order. So I'm gonna just use a very straight number to make it easy. So let's just say she ordered $100 worth of oils. I would earn 20% of that. That is $20, okay? So, and actually we get our Fast Start checks the very next week. So next week I get $20. Now, Amy loves her oils so much that she can't help but tell her brother, Joe, about them. So Amy enrolls Joe, and Amy earns 20% of Joe's orders, right? She gets the same as that I did with her, but this is where residual income kicks in. I earn 10% of Joe's order. I may not have even known that Amy did that. I might have no idea, right? That's the residual income. I might have been sleeping. I might have been on a plane ride somewhere, and all of a sudden I get that 10%. Now here's where it gets even cooler is Joe is so excited about the oils. He enrolls his sister Sue. So Joe earns that 20% of Sue's order. Now Amy earns the 10%, and I get 5% of Sue's order. So that's how fast starts work. And this works for their first 60 days. So if they place a second order in their next month, the same thing happens, okay? This is a great way to make money and get that cost of your monthly order covered pretty quick, right? So if you did 5 of those 20s, there's your monthly order. This is the next way that we can make money, the power of 3 bonus. And this is actually here to help train us, believe it or not. This is to help us know where to place people. This is paid every single month. And there's a few requirements. Excuse me. Now, the first requirement is that in order for people to count towards this bonus, they need to also be on the loyalty rewards program doing 100 PV order. So each person needs to do this. So like if you had 10 customers sign up and 5 of them join the loyalty rewards program and 5 of them don't, and the ones that don't join the program are ordering lots, they would not count towards this bonus, okay? Now I want you to know that this happens every single month. So you have and then you have 3 people that are doing the 100 PV order or more. We like to recommend 150 so that we get this team volume of 600. Team volume is everyone on your front line and you. You get a $50 check. So that's about half of your order, but it's also more, and I'll talk about that in a moment. Now, if you train each one of these people to do the same exact thing, they will also get 50, but you will then earn that $250. That's where things start to get exciting. When you get your first $250 bonus, your oils are covered, and you realize, wow, I'm starting to tap into some residual income, because once you've done it once and people are happy with their order, they're going to keep ordering, right? That 64% retention rate this is part of why this bonus is powerful. You do it you have each one of these do this and again, and you get that 1,500 bonus, which starts to change lives. And this is every single month. $1,500 starts to really change lives, and you really don't want to go back. You don't want to lose that bonus. Once you get that bonus, it's pretty exciting. This is the third way that we make money, and in doTERRA, this starts to really kick in, and as you're progressing into more and more people in your organization. So the first 2 ways that I just mentioned are really ways that you can start to make money pretty quickly, okay? Here in residual income, this is what happens after those 60 days. Remember I said fast starts, you get paid 20%, 10% and 5%. Well, this is after that. Once that's done, and then it's day 61, we get 2% if they're on our front line, right? And this is if they're on these numbers is front line, second line, third line, fourth line, and all the way down to our 7th line, we get reimbursed with percentage of whatever is coming in. This little chart here is showing you why doTERRA's compensation plan is so rewarding, is that our monthly earnings are paid on these percentages by actually supporting our team. Because if we start building deep, this means that, let's just say I have a new builder on my front line and I get somebody who is going to be a consistent customer, and they have a few people on their line, and I put them on their 4th line. Okay. If I put a person on their fourth line, I'm supporting that person. I am saying, hey, I'm going to support you. I have a great new customer. I'm going to place them on your fourth line, but I also get 5%. So I'm rewarded for building deeper, supporting my builders, because if I kept everybody close to me, which is the model of most network marketing companies, which is this grayer, more faded outside, you can see that I would actually not be benefiting in doTERRA. But if I kept them closer to me in other businesses, the 7% is on that front line. So you can see over time how this total is a lot more when we actually build supporting community versus selfishness, is really how I look at it. These monthly earnings are, by the way, based on that 150 PV average, which is going to support that power of three structure. Okay. The power of three structure is this one. Stay with me. We're getting close. This is the performance pools, and I am excited to share with you some of the updates that we have in our leadership performance pools, because it's going to make a difference in many of you that are just getting started. Because we get now a whole percentage of the entire company's earnings starting at the rank of premier. Okay, you get and that's 1.25%. As you continue to rank, you get more shares of that as you make those certain ranks. So you get 2% of the entire global company's profits as a silver, gold, and platinum. And you get a certain amount of those shares that they're expanded upon. And even more, 4% for diamonds, blues, blue diamonds, and presidentials. So for a diamond, that 4% a month can equal about an extra $4,000 a month. Okay, that can as a premier or a silver, that extra percentage averages out anywhere between 150 to 200 to sometimes 300. It depends on the month. So this is an extra way to make money, and let's look at that updated empowerment bonus, which is including in the premier and now extra for golds. So this is part of those company shares. As a premier, you get 1 share. But as a gold, you are actually eligible for 2 shares. You do need to do enrollments for each one of them. So if you're a premier, the only way you are eligible for that is with 1 enrollment. Okay, each share requires 1 enrollment. So as a gold, that means, let's just say you work the whole month and you get 1 enrollment, you'll get 1 share. But now we have the opportunity as golds to get 2 shares, which is an extra $400 or $500 a month. It's new, so we're seeing the last few months it's been an extra $400 or $500. For silvers, 1 share, right? So this is a really cool bonus. This is something that changed my mindset around the power of 3 bonus, especially about the power of 350 bonus. So the power of 3 bonus, I'm just going to give you the visual so you see it, is this one. This is the power of 3, right? 50, 250. So I want to break this down for you. At level 1, $50 a month is about $600 per year. Okay, that's nice, right? But if we want to look at it by having residual income, and we start to flip our minds to starting to understand residual income, what would it take for me to be able to take out $50 every single month from the bank and not have my number drop, right? The money that's in the bank drop. So this would mean that I would need to actually have $12,000 in the bank at 5% earnings to be able to take $50 out without that total number dropping. So I don't have that, but I do get to have that 50. Well, we actually get our 1,500, but for a while that 50 was there. The average time it takes to earn this bonus is about 3 months. And really the best way to earn this bonus is to share it with even your customers, because someone, let's say, who is having a hard time imagining how they can actually get their supplements and their oils and everything from doTERRA, we can present this to them and say, hey, you know, there is a way, if you share with a few people, that we can help contribute to your order by getting this power of 3 bonus. The level 2, the 250, now that's about $3,000 extra a month, a year. That's we're talking about some extra income there, right? And the average time it takes to earn this bonus, now this is the average out of everyone that says they want to do doTERRA, right, is 6 months. Now that's really intense focus on saying, I'm going to get that 250. I need to get that 250. Now, if we go into that residual income mindset, you have to understand that we would need $60,000 in the bank at 5% interest to be able to take out $250 every single month and have that balance stay the same. So I don't have $60,000 in the bank yet. Level 3 is the 1,500. Now that's $18,000 per year. Right? That's a lot of money. And this is actually what got David and I to go for it, because our friend said to us, you know that every month you let that 1,500 bonus go by, you're basically leaving $18,000 on the table. That really got to me. Right, David? I can't see you, but I know it got to you too. We were like, okay, actually, I think sitting at this very kitchen table, we were like, we're going to get that. Now, what it takes to get that is to actually really work for it and use your planning sheets, and that's what we're here for, to help you. Okay. I like to use a whiteboard. At this level, you would need $360,000 again, invested in earning that 5% to be able to take that money out every single month. This is a pretty awesome bonus. For me, this is the thing I could wrap my head around and I could focus on first. It was easier for me to focus on this bonus, but it's not the biggest way to make money. The unilevels is for sure the biggest way we can make money in doTERRA, and the leadership pools are pretty cool. So unilevel, same here, right? So we're just looking at this in this model of understanding that what it actually takes in residual income mindset. So the average income in silver is about $2,000, $220 per month, which is about $26,000 per year. The average time to get to this rank is about a year. You would need $528,000 invested at 5% to have this kind of residual income. So you're starting to understand, right? The average income for gold, here we are at our retirement goal. The average time to reach this is 30 months. This is about $54,000 per year at $4,000 per month, right? And you would need over $1 million invested to get that. So if we look at it from a 10-year plan model, right? What do you want 10 years to look like from now? If you were to choose to say, I'm not going to do doTERRA. I'm going to keep my job and it's going to work out great. And I'm going to just go for that raise. This is typically an actually this comes from a friend of mine in doTERRA. This was her teaching. She was a teacher. She was an elementary school teacher. And this was her teaching path. As a teacher, these were the years. This is what she was planning on making. And in 10 years, she maybe could have made $67,000. And she said now with the current climate, actually she would have no job. The people that she was working with, they don't have a job anymore because their school is not going to be working in person. So they're reducing the amount of teachers to do online teaching, right? So things are changing. Now the doTERRA 10-year plan, the first rank executive, that you can actually achieve in 1 month, but we're going to just play the 10-year plan. What if it took you a year to go to every rank? That means if you just chose a year to go to every rank, you could actually make presidential diamond, which is $1 million income in 10 years. Now I think you can do it in less than that, but it might take you more than that. It really depends. Every single one of us has a different timeline. Every single one of us. But keep going. You have unlimited potential here. Whereas in a current job, there is absolutely a limit. But here's the thing. Remember in the beginning when I said you might want to keep your job for a little while. These are not living in the beginning $1,000, $3,000. This is not to live on income yet. So you want to make sure you have some kind of other income so that you can fully go for it with doTERRA and you don't stress on your doTERRA business to make regular income for you, because this is residual income. You want to have your business working at a place where you can literally wake up one day and say, wow, my 1,500 bonus happened last night. Because that has been one of the coolest things to happen to us. Go to bed and you have your 250, you wake up and you have your 1,500, and that feels pretty cool. So what's the next step? Very first step is to make sure you have a wholesale account. Do you have your oils yet? Many of you here do, but maybe you invited someone that doesn't yet. And I will say, most of us end up, when we go into business, selling the kit that we got started with the most. So you might want to consider looking at some of the bigger kits if you're starting a business so that you have more of the products in your hands to learn with. But I really think that depends on your budget. So contact the person who enrolled you. You're going to upgrade. If you've been a customer for a long time, you'll upgrade, but make sure you contact the person who enrolled you, and then you'll set up your loyalty rewards cart so you can earn income. You're going to tap into the existing resources that we have in our team in doTERRA. You're going to learn all about how to build a doTERRA business. We are working with Elise Sedavi's daily mentor calls, so you can go ahead and listen to those, get a feeling for what that feels like. We also have, usually during this time, our weekly team call. We have an entire cross-line support called Visionary Leaders, where we have incredible guidance from many others in doTERRA. So we have a lot of existing resources. And then start making your list and sampling. This is really where the magic begins. And when you're starting off, I really recommend think about the people that are like you, or maybe like you a few years ago, who are interested in natural medicine, who want to learn how to take care of themselves and their families better. They want to have resources at home. They want to be able to actually order things from home right now. This is really common. So make a list and reach out to the person who invited you to this call and say, you know what, I'm really ready for the next step. I want to learn more about this. That's really where the magic happens, is when you link up with someone who's walked the steps with you and before you. So this is all I have in this presentation. So thank you for being here. I am going to stop the recording so that I can answer. I see some chats in there, and answer any questions. And I just want to wrap up by saying, you know, as an acupuncturist, being someone in the healing world, I never really thought that doTERRA would bring me financial healing. I didn't really even know that I needed it, but I did, and still do, right? I'm still working on being in that authentic, true financial freedom that affords me the ability to help anyone that I want, and also help my family and ourselves, right? So while the oils are an incredible thing to be able to offer and say, hey, here's some help, our business is too right now. There's a lot of uncertainty, and our company is extremely strong. They are very integral. So if you haven't gone to Source to You, go ahead and check that out before you complete your thought process about doTERRA. And thanks for being here and sticking with me. So I am going to stop this recording